Kung gusto mo yung charity na yan and you've laid some conditions, then let me lay my own conditions for the event. Kung serious ka talaga, these are my conditions. Pakiusapan mo yung amo mo na presidente
Oh.
and let it come out of his mouth that all elected officials should undergo a hair follicle drug test. Huwag ka mag-alala, Torre, kasi matagal ko na talaga gusto makabugbog ng unggoy. Kung
Unggoy! Unggoy! Unggoy ka daw, Tore! Update dito kay Attorney Kaufman kaugnay sa kalagayan nitong si dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte dyan sa The Hague, Netherlands. Pero bago ho yan, papanuorin ho natin ang sagot nitong si Mayor Baste Duterte kaugnay doon sa mga hamon nitong si Nicolas Torre. Pero panigurado ho tayo mga kababayan, hindi matutuloy ang laban na yan. Pagka pinag-usapan, hair follicle test, kabado 20 yung mga yan. Pero bago ang lahat ng yan mga kababayan, isang like at isang subscribe. Masaya na ho tayo dyan sa mga gusto sumahal sa ating community. Yung joint button, nandyan lang ho sa baba. Tingnan nyo naman ho yung larawan nitong si Nicolas Torre. Hindi pa ho umabot ng 2 round, bukang-buka ng bunganga niya. Paano ka lalaban ng bugbugan dito kay Mayor Baste kung ganyan ang kondisyon mo? Tama yung ginagawa nyo na yan. Kayo dyan sa PNP, i-training nyo yung amo nyo na yan. Galing-galingan nyo magpag-training dyan kay Nicolas Torre. May kaalalagyan yan kay Mayor Baste kung sakaling kumasa sila dito sa mga kondisyones nitong si Mayor Baste Duterte. At dito rin ho pala sa video na to, pag-uusapan ho natin ang sagot nitong si Marcos Jr. kaugnay sa mga nararanasang pagbaha ng ating mga kababayan sa iba't ibang bahagi ng Luzon. Ano na daw ho mga kababayan, masanay na daw ho tayo, yan na ho ang bagong normal. Wala na ho tayong magagawa. Yan na ho talaga, yan na ho ang bagong normal sa Pilipinas. Kaya kung sakaling, para hindi na rin naman kayo maghanap ng flood control, di ba? Huwag na kayo maghanap ng flood control kasi yan ang normal. Pagka umulan, babaha. Yan ho ang ating presidenteng bangaga. Kaya itong hamon na to ni Mayor Baste Duterte, napapanahon ho ito panoorin ho
huwag
natin
ka
mga kababayan.
mag-alala, Torre, kasi matagal ko na talaga gusto makabugbog ng unggoy. Kung gusto mo lang talaga ng suntukan, bakit kailangan mo pa ng charity? Why do you need kailangan mo pang gamitin yung nangyayari ngayon na baha dyan sa Metro Manila? If you're really serious about this,
In layman's term ho, ang sinasabi nitong si Mayor Baste, halika dito, magsapakan na tayo. Anong charity? Punta ka dito, magbugbugan tayo. Yun ang gusto mangyari nitong si Mayor Baste. Anong gloves? Gusto kong ipadapo sa pagbumuka mo itong mga kamao na to. Yun ang naiintindihan natin. Bakit charity pa? Dahil gusto mo ng charity, eto ang kondisyon. Kasi ang problema ho dito sa mga bangag na to, kagaya nitong si Torre, bangag sa kapangyarihan yan. Lasing na lasing sa kapangyarihan yan. Ngayong mga panahon na to, nakita nyo naman ginawa kay Tatay Digong. Kaya masasabi natin yan si Torre, bangag din sa kapangyarihan. Lasing. Yung tipong lahat kaya kong gawin. Ganyan ho si Torre. Di ba? Ngayon, ang problema ho dito, sila lang ang pwedeng maglagay ng kondisyones. 12 rounds of boxing, gagawin nating charity ito, hindi pwede yan. Kung kayo, negotiation yan kahit naman si Pacquiao, di ba, pagkalalaban siya. O yung kalaban niya, may kondisyones ako. O dapat, kung sakaling matalo ako, sabi ni Pacquiao, meron tayong rematch. Yan ang kondisyon ko. Dapat sa earnings, sa pay-per-view, tayo dyan, 40-60 tayo dyan. 60 sa akin dahil akong pinakasikat dito, 60 yung 60 yung... Kumbaga kung sino ang pinakasikat na pangalan, siya ang merong karapatang magbigay ng kondisyones dyan sa gaganaping laban. Ngayon, ang tanong ho dito mga kababayan, sino bang mas sikat sa dalawa? Si Nicolas Torre o etong si Mayor Baste Duterte? Sinong dapat magbigay ng kondisyon? Si Nicolas Torre na mukhang unggoy o itong si Mayor Baste Duterte? Diba, ganyan yun Gusto mong matuloy ang laban? Pues, etong kondisyon ko ang dapat sundin nyo. At ito na mga kondisyon itong si Mayor Baste Duterte.
kung gusto mo yung charity na yan and you've laid some conditions, then let me lay my own conditions for the event. Kung serious ka talaga, these are my conditions. Pakiusapan mo yung amo mo na presidente and let it come out of his mouth that all elected officials should undergo a hair follicle drug test.
Wala na. Tapos na usapan, Mayor. Tapos na usapan. Pagka ganyan ang usapan, pagka hair follicle test na ang pinag-uusapan dyan, kabado 20 ang mga yan. Anak ng toko, ang tagal mawalaan. Ano ba na? Yung huling insidente, yung huling na kung saan nakaladkad ang pangalan nila dyan, March, April, May, June, July. July ngayon, 4 na buwan pa lang ang nakakalipas doon sa panahon nitong si Tantongko. Kung sakali man kasi umamin na yung asawa ni Tantoko Yung buko nila, yung mga bandang dulo-dulo, yung last 4 months ago, pagka ginupit yan, nako, magkakakitaan tayo dyan. Magkakakitaan tayo dyan. Ika nga, magkakaalaman tayo dyan.
Papalagan ko yung charity mo na yan.
Oo.
Wala problema. If it will answer the issues nitong bansa natin, I can do that.
Ano, Torre, papalag ka? Hindi. Yang si Nicolas Torre, pagka pinag-usapan, nasasaalang-alang ang kredibilidad ng amo niyang bangag, may problema tayo dyan. May problema tayo dyan. Hindi kakanayang si Nicolas Torre pagka ganyan ang usapan. Pagka polical na yan ang pinag-uusapan, gusto mo mabatukan siya ni Marco, ba't pumayag ka dyan? Anak ng tokwa. Mayayari kami dyan. Nicolas Torre, tigilan mo yung boxing na yan. Punta ka dun sa krame. Trabaho ka dun. Boxing pinagagawa mo na yan. Mag-rescue kayo ng mga tao dyan sa baha. Buisit ka, anong boxing na yan? Ito. Ito si Nicolas Torre, kabado 22 pagka hair follicle test pinag-uusapan. Ayan, dito tayo kay Bangag. Hindi. Ganito na lang muna. Ulitin natin yung statement nitong si Mayor Baste. Tapos namnamin ho ninyo kung ano yung mga katagang sinabi nitong si Mayor Baste Duterte dito sa kanyang pang-opening salvo. Pakinggan nyo mga... Ito si Mayor Baste, may pagkasalbahay din. Pakinggan nyo.
Huwag ka mag-alala, Torre, kasi matagal ko na talaga gusto makabugbog ng unggoy. Kung
Unggoy ka daw, Torre! Mayor Baste naman. Huwag mo tatawagin unggoy yang si Nicolas Torre, magkagalit siya yan. Mahilig ba sa saging yan si Torre? Di ako nagsabi Si Mayor Baste, rinireakan ko lang. Hoy Torre, ano masasabi mo? Kaso, tingnan nyo. Ngayon sabihin nyo sa akin na hindi ko kahawig yan si Mayor Baste. Yan. Di ba? Sabi ko sa inyo. Yan si Mayor Baste. Para kami pinagbiyak na pinagbiyak na bunga. Sinasabi ko sa inyo. Di ba? Ano kami niyan Body kami niyan. Namit ko ng isang beses pero hindi ko pa nakausap yan. Pero pagdating sa mahaba lang buhok ni PH. Pero kung magpapagupit ako na medyo ganyan, syempre nasa public service siya, tayo nasa kwarto lang. Kaya okay lang magpahaba tayo ng buhok. Pero sinasabi ko sa inyo mga kababayan, kung kay Nicolas Torre, wala nang mababasag dyan, basag-basag na mukha. Wala na sisirain, sira-sira na mukha. Kay Mayor Baste, iyahan. Huwag naman. Yung mga ganitong klaseng mukha, iniingatan. Diba? Mayor, bigay mo na kay J. Guevara yan. Bigay mo na kay J. Guevara. Hayaan mo na. Huwag natin patulan yung mga unggoy. Magalit yan. Hindi, joke lang. Ikaw naman. Kayo naman, oo. Mayor, basta ako, magagalit na ako siya. Tinawag mo unggoy si General. Hindi siya unggoy, tao siya. Ito na. Dito na ako tayo kay Bangag. Kay Marcos Jr. Bangag. Yan. Dito tayo kay Marcos Jr. Bangag. Ano ba sabi nitong si Bangag? Ito kasing mama na to, bangag na bangag talaga This is the new normal. Mga abnormal. This is the new normal. Anong flood control? Hindi tayo pwede maglagay niyan. Ma-overwhelm lang. This is the new normal. Ganito na talaga ang buhay natin. Mahabagin. Ganito na talaga ang buhay natin. Please. Layo niyo po kami sa mga bangag. Anak ng Petrang Garapata, anong klaseng utak ang meron ng presidente na to? Ganito na talaga ang buhay natin. Kahit ano pang gawin natin. Anak ng Petrang Garapata, mahabagin. Ilayo nyo kami sa mga merong sira sa utak. Oplok ka, Brad! Oplok! Nandiyan ka para magbigay ng pag-asa, anak ng Petrang Garapata. Kung ganyan ho mentalidad nyo, mag-resign na kayo. Ganito na talaga ang buhay natin. Kahit anong gawin, anak ng toka, yari tayo dyan. Anong klaseng mentalidad yan, Mr. President? Kayo ho nandyan para magbigay ng pag-asa. Imbis na bigyan nyo kami ng pag-asa, inuyurakan nyo yung pag-asa na dapat sana ibinibigay nyo sa amin, mga walang niya kayo. Sayang sa gobyerno. Buisit kayo. Eto, pakinggan nyo. Sakit.
We have to explain. Also explain once again, it's not the first time I've done it. We have to explain that yung wag na mapalitan na natin ang pag-iisip natin. Hindi ito unusual, hindi ito emergency. Ito gayon talaga ang panahon. At mangyayari ito, sinasabi, ang estimate daw sa bagyo dito para sa Pilipinas sa taong ito, 12 to 15 na bagyo. So nakatatlo na tayo. So to be conservative, ibig sabihin isang dosena pa ito na dadating. Kaya huwag na nating isipin na
Natangan na naman. Natangan na naman. Huwag ka muna kasing magpulburon bago ka magpa-interview. Natatanga ka, Brad. Buisit na yan.
baka magkabagyo. Huwag tayo mag-isip na ganun. Tayo kasi nung lumaki tayo, very mali.
Kung ganyan pala mentalidad natin, itigil na natin yung 1 billion per day para sa buwisit na flood control na yan. Kung ganyanin pala mentalidad natin, okay, so pagka bumagyo, natural lang nababaha kayo. Okay? Huwag kayong maghanap ng bakit ganito, bakit ganyan. Pagka bumagyo, automatic babaha kayo. Huwag niyong hanapin yung 1 billion per day na flood control. Tuloy natin.
Maliwanag na maliwanag kung kailan ang typhoon season, maliwanag na maliwanag kung saan nagpapaha. Ngayon, hindi.
Ngayon, iba na naman. Hindi na climate change. Typhoon season. Actually, wala pang typhoon eh. Monsoon rain pa lang yung mga nauna. Heto pa lang ho yung typhoon. Papasok pa lang sa Philippine Area Responsibility. Walang nga ka. Ayokong magmura dito pero kamura-mura yung mga litanya mo, Brad. Sa totoo lang.
Hindi na ganun. Kaya nagbago lahat. And we have to see that pag huwag na natin sasabihin baka magkabagyo, paano na pagdating ng bagyo? Dahil darating at darating yan. That is the fact of the...
Brad, bata pa lang kami, alam na namin. Huwag mo kaming ungguin. Alam namin na darating ang bagyo. Ang pinag-uusapan dito, paano na yung flood control? 5,500. 1 billion per day, mga kababayan. 1,000 million pesos kada araw ang winawaldas ng administrasyon na to para sa flood control. Tapos ile-lecturean tayo nitong si Tanga na kesyo every year, automatic na yun, talagang merong bagyo. Alam namin!
of climate change. And we are now having to think more, of course, mitigation, kung ano yung mga pwedeng gawin para matulungan nga yung mga naging biktima. Pero in the longer term, kailangan na natin mag-isip tungkol sa adaptation. What do we have to do when it comes again? Because it...
Ang gawin nyo mga kababayan, patayuan nyo ng 4th floor ang bahay nyo, yun ang adaptation. Visit ka, anong adaptation? Anong adaptation? Hanapan natin ng solusyon, hindi adaptation. Dalawang magkaibang bagay ho yun. Yung tipong gusto niya mangyari, ano na yan eh, kumbaga normal na yan, babahain kayo. So itaas nyo na yung mga pamamahay nyo. Yun ang gusto niya mangyari. Bili kayo mga speedboat, bili kayo jet ski, ganun gusto niya. Adaptation.
will come again. So, evacuation centers, health centers, ano pa yung mga kailangan natin gawin? Kapag nangyari ulit ito, SOP na naman, o sige, may plano tayo para sa eskwelahan. Marami tayong health center, marami tayong medical team. Alam na natin yung gagawin natin. But we have to make those arrangements almost semi-permanent because this is going to, as I said, this will going to happen. As I told them today, this will happen this year, it will happen next year, it will happen the year after that, etc., etc. So we have to think in those terms.
Kawawang Pilipinas, kawawang Pilipinas. Isa sa pinakamalaking pagkakamali ng mga Pilipino na ihalal itong bangag na to. Anak ng Petrang Garapata. Ang mga evacuation center, ano na yan eh, kumbaga yaan na yung last line of defense na atin sa baha. Kahit ang simpleng tao, alam niya na pagka kayo dinala dyan, ibig sabihin yung first line of defense natin sa baha, nakompromiso. Ano yung first line of defense natin? Linisin ang mga kanal, linisin ang mga estero, ayusin ang mga flood control. Ang problema dito, iniskipan natin yung mga ginastusan natin ng bilyon-bilyon kada araw. Umiskip tayo doon sa first line of defense natin, which is yung unang mga ginagawa natin bago pa dumating itong mga bagay-bagay na to. Yung kasing mga evacuation center, binubuo yan pagka darating na bagyo o yung mga tent, ihanday na, inyo na, lagay nyo na sa mga yung mga local chief executive, ayusin nyo na yan, dalhin nyo na sa mga matataas na lugar ng mga kababayan natin. If ever na-overwhelm yung ating flood control, meron tayong pagdadalhan sa kanila. Okay? Ganon ho yun. Kaso ito wala na. Normal na bumaha, okay lang yan, punta na kayo sa evacuation center. Mali ho yun. Hindi ho ganon gumagana yun. Kaya nga meron tayong tag-araw wherein, doon sa mga panahon na yon, doon tayo maghahanda para sa mga darating na bagyo. Anak ng toko, ayoko na, visit ka. Ako, nagagalit na ako sa'yo, bangag ka ha. Langya kang bangag ka, punong-puno na ako sa'yo. Gusto mo tayo mag-boxing? Hindi, joke lang, presidente yan. Kaya na, di naman mabiro oh. Baka sabihin, PH update, hinamon ng boxing si Mark. Hindi, joke lang. Wala akong kaya dyan. Baka singutin ako niyan. Singot pa lang, talo na tayo. Pahabaan ng singot.
But I think thus far, kailangan talaga natin, unfortunately, we are at the mercy of the weather. And
We're at the mercy of the weather. Ito, ano lang to mga kababayan ha. Ako ayoko na magkomento, bangag. Tapos na ako sa'yo. Langya ka. Di ko sukat akalain na ganito kakitid ang utak nitong mama na to. Sabi ni Tatay Digong, magaling ka lang mag-English pero pag laman sa utak wala ka, daig ka pa ng mga kababayan natin na sa bagay kasi mga kababayan natin, di mo naman nasabi na hindi nag-aral. Wala nang ano yan eh. Yung critical thinking nila dahil hindi sila nagpupulburon, mas matalas pa kaysa dyan sa mama na yan. Di ba? Yung ating plano, evacuation center. Yun ang plano natin. Mr. President, ano ang plano natin pag kami bagyo evacuation center? Mr. President, ano ang plano natin pagka walang bagyo, pagka panahon ng tag-init, iipunin natin ang baha. Baha. Pagka dumating ang baha, evacuation center, nanto ka, sabaw-sabaw talaga utak no? Hindi, no? Hindi yung tipong, okay, pasensya na ho kayo, mga kababayan ko, na-overwhelm ulit. Pero I'll make sure, next year, pag dumating ang panahon ng tag-ulan, I'll make sure na hindi na mauulit itong mga kaganapan na to. Kung sakaling maulit, magre-resign ako. Anak ng tokwa, 1 bilyon kada isang araw ang winawaldas na galing sa bulsa. Bulsa mo. Bulsa ng bawat Pilipino. Bumili ka ng candy, bumili ka ng noodles, bumili ka ng sardinas, kung ano man ang binili mo sa tindahan, may value added tax yan. May VAT yan. Bumili ka ng cellphone, bumili ka ng computer, bumili ka ng ilaw, kung ano man ang binili mo sa tindahan, may value added tax yan. Di ba? Yung pera na yon, araw-araw, kumukuha sila ng 1 bilyon para saan? Sa flood control. Nasaan? Yan ang tanong sa mga bangag na mapahanggang sa ngayon, wala pa rin hong kasagutan. Dito na ho tayo kay Atty. Kaufman. Mahaba-haba ho yung usapin na yan sa totoo lang. Tayo dito sa PH Update hanggat maaari, anak ng tokwa, tayo dito hanggat maaari, gusto ho natin ilabas ang ating saloobin dito sa mga kaganapan na to. No? Kasi kaso, nakakaano na yung tipong every year, okay, pagdating ng panahon na to, automatic, alam na natin yan. Ito na pag-uusapan dyan, di ba? Ganito yan, Pag dumating ang panahon ng July, yan, sosonay na yan. Tapos mag-uulan, lulubog na naman. From August to December, walang humpay na hearing yan. See, alam ko na kung ano mangyayari dyan. From August to December, wala ho tayong gagawin dito sa bansa na to kung hindi maghihiring dyan sa Tricom, Quadcom, mga Comcom, mga preset na com na yan. Ba't ko alam? Yun ang plano Di nyo pa ba nababasa? Kung sakaling umpisahan nila yung Quadcom, huwag kayong magtaka. Nagpapahaging na yang si Abante. Dito na ho tayo kay Atty. Kaufman. Kakalungkot nangyayari sa Pilipinas. Kawawa ang Pilipino. Sasabihin ng presidente, ito na ang new normal, lulubog ang mga yung Pinondar mo TV, Smart TV na isang taon mong inipon sa iyong Christmas bonus, lulubog lang sa baha. Good luck sa mga insurance company ngayong mga panahon na to, yung claims ay isang damukal, act of nature, baha lahat ng kawawa naman. Magpa-insure do kayo mga kababayan nako. Lalo na kung nandiyan kayo sa lusod ng Maynila. Kawawa kayo dyan. Okay?
Attorney Kaufman, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm well, thank you very much.
How is our former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte?
Well, as I've said, he's always in good spirits, but he's 80 years old and he's tired.
Attorney, in your motion to defer adjudication on the urgent request for interim release, you cited several delays and roadblocks. Could you elaborate on the nature of these obstacles? Or are they primarily procedural, diplomatic, or a combination of both?
Well, unfortunately, I'm not entitled to elaborate further. The matter is subject to confidentiality, as you would have seen from the filings on the ICC website. A number of parts of that filing are redacted, and they're redacted for a reason, to protect certain interests.
Attorney, what are the specific delays, whether it is procedural, evidentiary, or logistical, that you believe justify a reassessment of the current schedule for the confirmation of charges?
Well, I want to make it clear, at the present moment in time, the defence hasn't asked to postpone the confirmation of charges hearing. The nature of the delays and the obstacles are confidential, but they are the information that we haven't received, because that's basically the substance of our application is, in our opinion, crucial for determining an issue which could potentially bar the holding of the confirmation of charges hearing.
Because, Attorney, there is a concern that the pre-trial chamber may interpret this delay as a tactic, stalling measure rather than a legitimate legal need. How do you respond to that?
Well, the pre-trial chamber know exactly what we've argued, and the pre-trial chamber will understand that we're not deliberately stalling. I don't deliberately stall anything. I do what I believe is the best thing to do for the interests of my client.
Okay. How about the Rule 121 of the ICC Rules of Procedures and Evidence, indicating it clearly that ensuring the efficiency of proceedings, in your view, has the Office of the Prosecutor failed to uphold any part of that obligation in this case?
Well, I'm the last person who would normally hand out awards to the prosecution, but to their credit, they have actually met their disclosure requirements as expected in this case. It's not been the case in other situations before the court, but ironically in this case, they have met their disclosure obligations. What I can say that we've been disclosed a huge amount of information, and that will take time to assimilate and to learn.
Attorney, on another note, 3 Philippine senators have called on the Senate to urge the government to formally petition the International Criminal Court for the interim release of the former president, proposing a house arrest arrangement in The Hague. Legally speaking, how likely is the ICC to consider such an appeal under any circumstances, if any? Could this influence the court's discretion in granting interim release under the Rome Statute?
I think such an initiative on behalf of the senators is to be welcomed because it basically expresses the will of the people. However, the judges rule on evidence and rule on risk factors. So whatever these senators say, and I welcome it, I really do welcome it, and I thank them for it. Regardless, the judges have a set of rules which they use to decide whether or not an individual should be released or not.
Attorney Kaufman, is your legal team actively considering the options reportedly raised by Attorney Harry Roque to file a separate civil action under Dutch domestic law challenging the legality of Mr. Duterte's or President Duterte's arrest and detention?
Perhaps you could enlighten me. Where is Harry Roque proposing to file this?
Under Dutch law? Under Dutch legal.
And what's the nature of this? Has he mentioned it in the media?
No, not yet. Because it was proposed that a separate legal remedy filed under Dutch laws could be a possible option. Are you actively proposing the same?
Well, this is not the first time I've heard such a crazy scheme. I would put it that way because at the end of the day, the Netherlands have to be involved in any request to release an individual from the court, because in order to go to a target country or a country where the person has selected to be the place for him to be under house arrest, should obviously the pre-trial chamber agree, he would have to pass through the Netherlands territory. So to initiate a case in the Netherlands against the Netherlands would be a big mistake.
Aside from the recent efforts filed before the ICC, such as the petitions for disqualification of certain judges and the request for interim release, what other legal avenues or procedural steps are you currently exploring to strengthen the case and secure the eventual return of the former president?
Well, there is a petition before the court for interim release. As you might know from a decision given by the judges yesterday, the decision on interim release will be postponed temporarily in order to allow us to present further crucial information to the pre-trial chamber.
On that note, Attorney, congratulations on the grant of your defense request to defer adjudication of the urgent motion for interim release. Ideally, is this motion expected to be adjudicated prior to the set confirmation of charges?
I hope so, but it's all tied up with the issue of information that we haven't received, delays, which are not attributable to the defense.
What is the legal significance or advantage of granting the deferment of the adjudication of the urgent motion for interim release?
And I said we want to have all the information necessary to promote a claim for interim release. We still require crucial information which is available and can be made available, but because of various obstacles and delays, we haven't received it. I'm not entitled to elaborate any further on the matter.
Thank you, Attorney. If the interim release is granted, will former President Duterte be placed under arrest only during the pre-trial phase, or will it continue throughout the entire trial if the charges are confirmed?
One would hope that it will continue throughout the whole trial if charges are confirmed, obviously.
Attorney, according to the report, the ICC has disclosed 1,253 items of evidence related to alleged crimes against humanity involving the former president. Have you had the opportunity to review these materials in full? If so, what is your legal assessment or overall impression of the strength and credibility of the body of evidence?
Well, you talk about 1,000 or so items that have been disclosed. However, each one of those items sometimes contain up to 100 or even 200 pages. So it's an immense amount of information. It's disclosed electronically. And we have means and methods using the court's information technology systems to analyze that evidence, to perform keyword searches, to focus in on aspects of the case that interest us for promoting the former president's defense. I'm not going to comment on the strengths and the weaknesses. I'm not allowed to. However, we are busy learning that evidence. We have a short amount of time to do it. We have a fair idea what we want to argue at confirmation, but once again, that's strategy, which I shan't be disclosing in a media interview.
Yes. Do you believe political motivations, either locally or in the Philippines or within the ICC itself, are influencing the pace or direction of the proceedings?
Well, once again, I don't get into politics. That's not my job to start making pronouncements. I've said my views in the past regarding the political motivation behind former President Duterte's current presence in The Hague. But beyond that, I'm not going to comment.
How do you respond to the Vice President Inday Sara Duterte's claim that President Marcos Jr. is working with the ICC to remove her father from politics and to keep the ICC relevant?
I'm not going to comment on Vice President's comments to the media. However, what I can say is that no investigations can be carried out in the Philippines without the approval of the Philippines government. Otherwise, it would be a breach of sovereignty. It depends which way you look at it. And once again, the former president was brought here because supposedly the President Marcos, said that he was complying with Interpol. He wasn't complying with Interpol, he was complying with an ICC arrest warrant. So that is cooperation with the court to which the Philippines is no longer a member.
Yan ho, hindi ano yan. Hindi ho yan Pilipino, hindi ho siya kung ano-ano pa man, di ba? Yun, mali ang ginawa ni Marcos Jr. Hindi ho yan DDS. Professional ho yan. Yung ginawa ni Marcos Jr. mali kahit Pilipino titingin, Amerikano titingin, abogado titingin, mali yung ginawa ni Marcos Jr. Hindi tayo member ng ICC. Pero pinagpilitan kasi case of first impression ang ika nga nitong si Boying.
Are you saying that the Philippines, through these actions, are saying that we are not a sovereign country anymore?
No, I didn't say that. You can't carry out investigative procedures in another country without the approval of that country, otherwise it would be deemed a breach of sovereignty.
Is this action can also be characterized as not believing on our local judiciary?
Well, there's been all sorts of claims made by the current administration. They claim that there's no evidence left because it was all destroyed, and they claim falsely and without any foundation whatsoever that former President Duterte is possibly responsible for the destruction of that evidence. So that's why they argue that he can only be tried here. They've given a number of claims. All the time they're obfuscating the reason for him being transferred to The Hague. What I can say is that the correct place for him to be tried, given our jurisdictional arguments, is in the Philippines. He asked for a Filipino judge, he asked for a Filipino prosecutor, and he said, if I'm found guilty, I will sit in the Filipino prison.
Attorney Kaufman, can I just
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
Are you hopeful that it will be dismissed on lack of jurisdiction when Philippine government kidnap PRRD and have him to ICC and Philippine government cooperating on witnesses which vindicate the Philippine government recognizing the jurisdiction of the ICC?
Well, that's a bit of a long question, but once again, our jurisdictional arguments are before the court, and the court will give its decision in due course. Whether it gives it before or after the confirmation hearing or during the confirmation hearing, I don't know. We're coming up to the judicial recess, and traditionally, pre-trial chambers have delivered consequential judgments on the last days of the judicial year. So we can only wait and hope.
On the other hand, why postpone confirmation of charges when this further prolong pre-trial detention of PRRD? What's your timeline to have PRRD released?
Well, once again, I haven't asked to postpone yet the confirmation of charges hearing. I'm waiting to receive crucial information, and I've asked the court to decide upon that crucial information before we get to the confirmation of charges hearing.
One last question for me, I'm sorry. Why did you not wait for the documents that you needed before filing the interim release, Attorney Kaufman?
You're assuming that I didn't ask for them before I filed for interim release. Once again, I've told you that there are certain obstacles that have been placed in our way. I'm not entitled to disclose the nature of those obstacles. I hope that they will be lifted and we'll get the information that we require as soon as possible.
Attorney Kaufman, I understand that all available legal remedies before the International Criminal Court have been actively pursued in relation to the case involving our former president. In your assessment, attorney, have these efforts reached a point of diminishing returns? And To what extent do you believe the process have become politicized, if at all?
Listen, it won't serve my interests or Mr. Duterte's interests if I say that the court's a political court. I'm not going to say that, as much as people would want me to say that. It's just self-destructive. We do our best. We're lawyers. We're doing a legal job. We've explored all possible avenues and we've pursued them with maximum vigor.
Attorney, on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that the Philippines still has a viable path to bring former President Duterte back home? What factors support that level of confidence?
Between 1 to 10?
Yes.
I would say 100 if President Marcos would invite me to Manila. I'd sit down with him and I'd explain to him that nothing will happen if he allows my clan to go back to Davao. He's an old man. Let him live out his life in peace, quietly, and don't interfere with him.
Yung, at dahil dyan, Attorney Kaufman, ganito ka kay PH. Yan o, heart ka kay PH. Heart ka kay PH. Maraming salamat, Attorney Kaufman. Buti na lang, merong Attorney Kaufman na talaga namang, ika nga nakikipagbalagbagan para dito kay dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte dyan sa Daig, Netherlands. So Luis, maraming salamat po sa pag-support sa PH Update. Mag-ingat po kayo lahat. Mahalin natin ang Pilipinas. Palakpanon natin itong si Atty. Kaufman at itong si Mayor Baste Duterte.